Yeah, obviously ran into a buzzsaw against one of the top teams in the country. Very challenging on offense, explosive, physical, and very efficient. Coach Banks did a great job with the defense, and they were opportunistic on special teams. Thought our kids competed hard for 4 quarters, and although it wasn't indicative by the result or the score, I thought we found some ways in each facet to improve moving forward, but certainly not the result that we intend, expect, or will tolerate. And that's where we're at right now against two of the top teams in the country.
Fire away, George.
We talked a little bit about this the other night. How are you players, in light of the past couple weeks, holding up psychologically? I mean, yeah, that's basically.
How are they holding up psychologically? I mean, I don't. I mean, I guess the old saying that the strongest steel is forged through the hottest fires, and we've gone out of the frying pan and into the fire a couple weeks in a row here. So obviously you're concerned with the psychological component because of the result on the scoreboard. But since day one, we've talked about building a program from scratch, and at first, finding a way to be competitive and ultimately finding a way to win a championship. So we're so process oriented and driven right now that we don't like the result, and it's never going to be accepted around here. But in light of the schedule and where we were and where we want to go, we got to find a way to continue building on the positives as we lay the foundation for our program moving forward.
At this point, what do you think they're taking from these past two games that can help them when you eventually get to the non-conference a week from October 1st?
Yeah, I think the positives are that we've shown the ability in all three phases to operate effectively, explosively in some regards, but we lack consistency. So for DJ to go 32 of 44 against one of the top defenses in the country, and Shockey to have 2 games over 100 yards, and then a defense to get an interception to win the game against St. Francis, and do some things in a positive manner. You're outmanned against these opponents. So it's hard to say which of it is lack of consistency and which is it that you're playing a game against a team that is way better than you. So I think that we've seen in all three phases that we could do some really, really good things. We got to do it with a greater level of consistency, and we'll get another chance against a great opponent this Saturday.
Do they take to the challenge of? First of all, do they know they're outmanned? Do they let that reality creep into their thoughts? And do they really take to the challenge in your mind?
I think they do, and I think we've seen that because of our level of competitiveness for 4 quarters across 2 games. So I mean, you want a bunch of competitors on your team, and just like St. Francis came into our game playing a level up with the chip on their shoulder, and wanted something to prove at a level probably at which they wanted to aspire to play. We're getting an opportunity to play against Michigan State, to play against Tennessee, and our guys have entered the game with that chip on their shoulder. But to sit here and say that they're oblivious to the fact that these are 2 of the best teams in the country, I think we're probably not giving these kids enough credit. So I guess it's 2 things. One, we want them to be incredibly competitive and go into these games, well prepared and giving everything we have. But there's also a dose reality of who we're playing, is who we're playing, and there's nothing you could do to match that as a coach or as a team.
Are you still searching for that right combination on your offensive line?
In terms of the run game, yes. I think we've improved protecting the passer since St. Francis. We made a couple of moves, try a couple of different combinations inside, but Coach Rodriguez and obviously I meet with the offense and see those guys every day. We've got to find a way to be more consistent running the football when we hand it off to the running backs. We've been pretty good with the quarterback run game stuff. We protected the passer better the past 2 weeks, but we got to find a way to run the ball better. So, and part of that is finding the right combination. Yes, George.
How do you teach that offense? And the answer is just do it. But how do you teach them to finish? Because it seems in the past two games, you're driving down the field, and all of a sudden, there's an implosion. It's almost as if they're afraid of success.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that. I think part of it comes with repetition. Part of it, you got to give credit to the opponent, and part of it being the first few games in this scheme. TJ, we marched right down the field there, and TJ had the fumble, so, the kid made a good play putting a hat on the ball and getting it out. But the positive was we were down there at the 15, and then you look at the 4 drives in the red zone against Tennessee. Alex drops a ball where he probably would have caught it and scored, and then Corey misses the field goal, so that's points off the board. Daniel fumbles inside the 5, that's points off the board. On Perez's first field goal, Brank drops a touchdown in the end zone. That's 7 more, and then on Perez's last field goal, we were down there, and Coach Banks made a great call on the screen. So, we ended up with 6. We're probably, that was probably anywhere from a 21 to 28 point game offensively. And we talk about red zone touchdowns, and I don't know this implosion. We just got to find a way to finish there, and we didn't in this game.
Speaking of field goals, who's your kicker now?
Perez is the kicker.
Okay.
Yeah.
How has Corey accepted that, or has he accepted it?
Corey had his opportunity, right? We had the botched extra point attempt against St. Francis, and I believe we missed one in that game, right? And then missed another one in this game. So kicker's no different than any other position on the team. It's a meritocracy, and the guys have an opportunity throughout the week to, kick the football on field goals and PATs and get their opportunities in the game. And, ultimately, it's our job as coaches to put our kids in the best position to be successful and put the guys on the field that, do the same for the team. And, right now that's Noah.
You're facing a legitimate dual-threat quarterback this weekend, Caden Salter. Where's his strength lie?
I think Coach Freeze does an excellent job with his system, and then particularly the type of quarterback that they recruit. You look, obviously at the, Malik Willis kid, and, it's a philosophy where the quarterback can beat you with his arm and his legs, and it forces you to, like we talked about with DJ, defend the whole length and width of the field. So I don't know that you can focus on making a guy like that one-dimensional, because he could beat you with the legs and the arm. So we just got to have great eye discipline, be gap sound, and be smart on our coverage on the back end.
As an offensive coach, do you have a problem with your quarterback being your leading rusher in your system?
Yes.
In the RPO?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah, I do.
Why is that?
Why? Because, we've had some great tailbacks over the years in the system, going back to, Dennis Kennedy here at Akron, who I believe, and Brett Biggs, and I think Dennis ended up being, broke the school single-season rushing record. Andre Dixon and Jordan Taubman at UConn, Chase Edmonds at Fordham, a couple guys you may have heard of with the Penn State, Saquon Barkley, Miles Sanders, Colin Hill with the Packers. And so we've Travis Dye, C.J. Verdell. We've been very running back centric in this offense, but combining it with a quarterback either 10 to 15 times a game that's going to make plays with his feet by design or improvisation. So short answer is yes. Long answer is, we've got to block better to make our tailback the leading rusher in the system. So we can't fit a square peg in a round hole. We have to do to move the ball. Like at Mississippi State, we were probably 65-35 run to pass, because that's what we were suited to do from a personnel standpoint. But yeah, ideally, I don't want the quarterback to be the leading rusher in the system, relative to the running back.
What kind of challenge does Mario Douglas present?
The whole team, it's just a challenge all around. One of the top group of 5 teams in the country on the road, 2-1, coming off of a, last-second loss to, I think Wake Forest was ranked 15th. So, yeah, multiple on offense and explosive. Same on defense. I think they may have blitzed Wake Forest the first, seemed like 15 plays of the game, and they do a nice job on special teams. So, yeah, the whole operation down there is going to be, certainly a great challenge.
It says a lot. I think they lost their original starting quarterback. That that Salter's been able to come in and just keep things going, I
Yeah,
guess.
the Brewer kid, I think he was a two-time transfer kid. I'm not sure. I think he was at the Utah. I'm not sure. I know he's been at two different places, and then I think the Salter kid's a transfer too. So, yeah, like I said, systematically, it's very quarterback-friendly. They do a great job coaching them, and the guys that come in there are very talented and have been very effective in the scheme.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, George. Have a great day. Fellas?
George had asked you about the running game, and you mentioned blocking,
Yep.
but especially in the second half Saturday, it seemed like Cam Wiley was a receiving target quite a few times. Does that ever help to loosen up the run game when you're able to use your back?
Yeah. I mean, if we're being, we knew going into the past 2 weeks that, it was a mismatch up front, expecting our guys to knock them back off the ball. And then you combine their front six with their pressures. We had to find a way to be creative moving the ball, whether that was quarterback run game or, like we used to do with Saquon. It wasn't a number of carries, it was a number of touches, right? So year one to year two with Saquon, people were crowding the box more, and they said, well, you're not going to hand the ball off to the guy in between the tackles. So we had to find ways to get him on the perimeter, split him out, swing screens, throws like that. So with us, if we're not able to run the ball successfully between the tackles, either via matchup, personnel, or scheme, we've got a talented group of running backs, so we got to find different ways to get them the ball, and that involves out of the backfield.
I think we're good, Coach. Thank you very much for your time.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Go Zips.